Hello, everybody, and welcome to the penultimate round of the 2021 OC Entrance Series. We are here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps in Stavelot, Belgium, for the penultimate race of the season for the OC Entrance Series. I'm JW97, and I'm joined today by the host himself, Yuri.
Terve, everybody.
Yes, indeed. We are here at Spa-Francorchamps, the longest track on the calendar, and as you can see, you would have seen some criteria on your screen a little bit earlier on, as the championship could be decided today. However, I think it is fair to say that it's probably more than likely going to go down to the final race, but you never know. Stranger things have happened in the OC before. Maybe this could be one of those occasions. But without further ado, let's get to the qualifying session. It's a dry qualifying session, no rain expected, so we should have no interruptions whatsoever. And given how long this track is, at 7.004 kilometers, I think we're expecting roughly around 2-minute lap times with these cars, and maybe, for most of the guys at least, only 2 full laps around this 15-minute qualifying session.
Yeah, 2 laps per driver, I'd expect completely. And yeah, speaking of the championship, that could be right, but probably isn't. I mean, it's a goddamn 5 race season, so I'd be with equal cars as well. I'd be shocked if uh, if this go doesn't go into the final race. Actually, I
But
think
we
it will be embarrassing for the other drivers.
Yeah, it might be, but we'll have to wait and see on that, of course. Of course, the only way that Soppinen can win the title, of course, Juha Soppinen today, is if he wins the race, and he has to finish in first. He can't finish in any other position, otherwise the championship will go down to the final race. He needs to finish, he needs to win the race, and then hope that Julian Remes finishes in 4th, Josh Fings to finish in 8th, and then Sam Fact, Ray and Adam and Matteo Catalan to finish 3rd or lower to win the title. But as we said, because the gap is only 5 points between the top 2 in the championship, that being Soppinen and Fings, thanks to Fings' victory last time out at Budapest, it's going to be quite difficult for Soppinen to wrap it up here at Spa. So I do think it's probably more likely going to go down to the final race, but we have got the graphics prepared just in case it does happen today. But I
To
think
be
it's more than
honest,
likely going to go.
to be honest, I'd have a higher chance of winning a lottery than that happening.
Yeah, so anyway, we've got some track action as you just saw there, as we're just rambling on a little bit. It was Daniel Noakes who was the first driver to come out onto the racetrack. And Noakes has not had the best of season, it's fair to say. The entrance series, he has struggled quite a bit. And he'll be looking to see if he can have a good result here at Spa-Francorchamps. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head if he's ever raced here. I think he might have done actually when he was in BTCC, but I can't remember exactly which season he was in when he was in BTCC. It might have been the season when we didn't come to Spa, so he might have never done. I might have to double check on that maybe a little bit later on. But anyway, he's coming up towards the chicane very soon to start his first flying lap, and potentially 2 in this qualifying session, as Noakes now makes his way through the second part of Blanchimont now then, before making his way towards the chicane. Of course, people still refer to it as a bus stop chicane, even though it hasn't been the case since 2007. So obviously, but people still refer to it as a bus stop chicane, even though its official name is just, well, chicane. But anyway, Noakes is now starting his lap now then, along with everybody else that is following him behind, as Noakes now then makes his way through into the first corner, using curb on the inside and using all of it on the outside, as he now makes his way down towards Eau Rouge and Radion. And given this is a 25% race that's usually this, we are expecting it to be an 11-lap race for the OC Entrance Series. Obviously the shortest distance that we have for these guys. And so, yeah, that's that really. So Noakes now then coming down the Camel Straight now then, before he makes his way towards the end of the first sector. It's only really the first corner really that is the real test in the first sector. Everywhere else is just pure straight. So as we've seen in the previous series, the first sector is not really the sector you need to keep an eye on the most. A 36.927 for Noakes though in the first sector, as he just comes out of Le Com now then, before making his way down towards Bruxelles now then. Through turn 8, he will go now then on the track before he makes his way towards the infamous no-name corner, or as it's now known as the Jackie X corner, using a bit of curb on the outside before making his way down towards Pouon now then. And I would imagine with these cars, because they're at lower speed, it will be flat out, but we'll see through the left and then into the second part of the left-hander now of Pouon before he makes his way towards turns 12 and 13 on the racetrack now then. So through the right, And then into the left-hander now then will come Daniel Noakes, as he will now be approaching the end of the second sector quite soon, through into turn 14, and now approaching the end of the second sector before going around Stavlo. It's a 131.631 in the second sector. So as I said a little bit earlier on, given how slow these cars are, I am expecting it to be a 2-minute lap for these guys. So let's see what Noakes can do then on this occasion, as he now makes his way towards the second part of Blanchimont now then, before making his way towards the last chicane. And let's see what the benchmarker time will be then from the Brit now then, as he makes his way through the right and then into the left-hander now then he will go. And let's see where Daniel Noakes can do then. So across the line he will go to set the benchmarker time around here at Spa. You should expect the gaps to be quite big around here because of the big lap, the long track. A 2-minute 10.3, but gets beaten by Adam, who goes to the top by 5 attempts. No, Koenigsegger goes into third, as De Oliveira went into second. Borghi then goes into second place. Skillen goes fastest by 5 tenths of a second. Sikorsky goes into 7th. Soppinen across the line, only 3 thousandths off, and goes into second. Bogas now goes to the top of the timing sheets, as we now look at Christoph Berenek now then, the Czech driver, making his way onto the pit straight, and across the line he will go, and he goes into 7th position. Koenigsegger now across the line. It wasn't Koenigsegger who crossed the line a little bit earlier, it was someone else, but she goes into 10th, as Tarasen goes into 9th position. Ormond across the line now then we go, and he goes into 5th. Matteo Catalan, the Italian, comes across the line, and he goes into 13th. Sam Fact goes into 4th position, slotting in behind Soppinen. Tilly goes into 7th. Here comes Josh Fings, who is, of course, Soppinen's nearest rival, although I wouldn't be surprised if he's been compromised by the car behind. And then he goes into 17th, make that 18th now, because Jefferson, who was interfering with him, goes 17th. Bennett goes 14th. Remes goes into 5th. Here comes Davy Suarez, the Brazilian, crosses the line to go into 4th position. Here comes Joel Lopez, his fellow compatriot, and he goes only 17th with that time. So at the moment, it's Alexandre Bogas, who is currently at the top of the timing sheets, but the top 3 currently separated by 0.02 of a second. But Soppinen in the top 3, and so far a decent qualifying for him, but so far not in a position where he could try and win the title in the race a little bit later.
Nope, but he is, if he keeps this in the race, he is going to make himself quite comfortable in the final round.
Yep. It looked like as well, we saw that Josh Frings though had his lap a little bit compromised, it seemed, by Alan Jefferson.
A little bit, you say? He's
3.2
off.
A little bit is a bit of an understatement there, but yeah, it definitely looked like that Jefferson was compromising his lap there, and I would even say that Jefferson got a little bit compromised, but not to the extent of what Frings got.
They were fighting the entire lap.
I know, he did get compromised, but obviously not to the extent of what Fings, of course, because, well, Jefferson was the one who was mainly putting the problems towards Fings, of course, and Jefferson, whilst he was getting effect. Anyway, my words will get tangled if I keep going. So, anyway, as they all make their way back to the pits, now we said a little bit earlier on, we're only expecting 2 flying laps, but usually when it comes to qualifying, as we've seen in the past, usually 1 car gets left behind on this occasion, and given the length of this track, it looks like only one of them is going to get 1 flying lap, and it'll be interesting to see which one it will be, as Skillen decides he's going to hit the wall there and not bother braking really, and so Soppinen has to drive around him as a result there. Not exactly ideal there for the championship leader, as we now wait for whoever is going to be next to go out. Well, who's going to be first to go out to do potentially what will be their final flying lap. And as Soppinen now then gets wheeled back into the garage now then, with just over 7 minutes to go in this qualifying session. So you will see what is going to happen. There's all 22 cars. Well, I say that Lopez is still out on track, but he should be in the pits quite soon, which he is now. So all 22 cars now in the pits, with Bogas top, Skillen in second, and it is Soppinen in third, Suarez fourth, Fact in fifth, and Remes in sixth, Adam seventh, Ormond in eighth, Tilly in ninth, and Borghi completing the top 10 at this stage.
Flo.
So as meanwhile, we've got Ray and Adam coming out on the track. You were saying there, Yuri?
Just said hello, Flo, and I'm just answering the chat. And also, yeah, Soppinen wins the entrance series, and we never see him again. Like, I'm mentally prepared for the trauma of that happening. I'm ready for him to just never appear again.
We will see, of course. It all really depends on what happens. But anyway, Ray and Adam Nowden is out on track. Of course, he is also a driver who could obviously stop Soppinen from winning the title today, as you saw a little bit earlier. His name was in the graphics as well, along with Fact, Catalan, Remis, and of course Things. So also on track we have Max Skillen, who has come out on the track. I was a little bit worried for a second he was going to get stuck in the wall there after his little contact in the pit lane, but thankfully he hasn't. Also on track we have Ormond, we have Borgie out there, Coney. I'm not sure which one that is. It's either Coney Zino or somebody else that's got KON as their prefix, and I keep forgetting who that is. We're on the fourth race. I should really memorise this, really, but there we go. Sikorsky's out there, as is Catalan, who's just gone out onto the track, as Ray and Adam just makes his way around Pouon. He'll be hoping there'll be no traffic by the time he gets back around the circuit for what should be his final flying lap. As Noakes has gone back out on track. And the question is, will Soppinen get back out there? Will Remis get out there? Soppinen has. He's just gone out onto the racetrack. Will Fact, Remis as well get out there? That will be the question. Usually one driver gets left behind. Things desperately needs to get out there, though, because obviously he got held up by Alan Jefferson during his lap. Otherwise, he's going to put himself in a little bit of trouble to why am I talking about truffles? Trouble to get himself keep himself in the title fight between himself and Soppinen if of course Soppinen wins the race, that is. But anyway, as there's still 3 cars in the garage, Bennett, Jefferson and Things. So Things is hoping he's not one of those guys that gets left behind, as Ray and Adam is about to start his lap. Bennett and Things are still in the garage as we speak. So Things will be hoping it's not him that's getting left behind, as Adam starts his lap now then, as he makes his way down towards the first corner, and it is Things that is getting left behind. So he's giving himself a lot of problems at the start for this race if he wants to ensure he's got a good chance of... to ensure he gives himself a good chance to win the title at Monza, so he's not really helped himself there. But anyway, Ray and Adam makes his way up the hill, as he will now make his way down the Camel Straight now then, before making his way towards the end of the first sector. And let's see what Ray and Adam's first sector is going to look like compared to Alexandra Bogas, as he now, at the end of the Camel Straight, 3 tenths down in the first sector. Just looking where Adam is currently at the moment. He's currently in 7th, and he's overall 5 tenths behind Bogas. So not a very good first sector, it's fair to say, compared to Bogas. But of course, it's only a straight on that occasion, but it doesn't bode well given the middle sector is where you gain and lose most of your time. So the Italian now then makes his way down towards the Jackie X corner now then, as he will now make his way down towards Pouon very, very soon now then. As... is now coming around Pouon now then, so through the double left-hander we will go, as he will now make his way towards turns 12 and 13 on the racetrack. So through into turn 12 he goes, and then into turn 13 now then he will go. He will now make his way towards turn 14 and 15 very, very soon. See what his second sector is going to look like, and he's 6 tenths down, so I think it's safe to say, given that he's overall 5 tenths down on Bogas so far in the timing screens, and it looks like Adam is not going to improve and he's going to remain 5 tenths behind given how much time we've got left in this qualifying session. So Adam now then making his way towards the second part of Blanchimont now then. He will soon be coming up towards the chicane now then, and he will now come up towards the final turn now then. So coming into the right and then into the left-hander now then he will go. Let's see if he can find a miracle in the last sector. I highly doubt it, but let's see. Adam, down the pit straight he goes, and he's going to come across the line, and no improvement. He stays in 7th place. Here comes Fonyaton Concom now then. That's the other guy who's KON as it turns out. I thought it was him. It's Fonyaton Concom who's the one in 15th position. Can he get a little bit higher though? The Thai driver comes across the line and goes into 14th position. Patrick Borgie across the line goes into 6th. Here comes Jacob Sikorsky now then, as he comes down the straight, and across the line goes Sikorsky, and he goes into 11th. Max Skillen, can he improve? And he can. He goes fastest by 2 tenths of a second. 2:09.068 for the Scotsman. Here comes Nathan Ormond now then, as he now powers his way down the pit straight. Can the American improve on his 9th position? Across the line he will go, and he does not improve. Bernardo de Oliveira, he obviously took pole last time out in Budapest and goes into 2nd on that occasion, so gets himself onto the front row of the grid. Here comes Matteo Catalan now then, who's currently all the way down in 20th. Can the Italian improve? Across the line, he will go, and he goes up to 9th, so gets himself into the top 10. Daniel Noakes, across the line, he will go, currently 15th, and he stays 15th. Krzysztof Berenek, across the line, he will go, he stays in 14th. Emilia Konezaina, can she improve? And she can, but only up into 14th position. Here goes Juha Soppanen. Across the line goes the Finnish driver. This looks like a good lap, and it is, but he stays in 4th, only able to improve on his lap time. Hinjaldi Tilly now then. Across the line comes the Frenchman. What can he do? And he does not improve. He stays in 12th. Tarrison across the line. He will go. The Swedish driver does not improve. Bogas, can he go back to the top? No, he can't. He stays in 3rd. Joao Lopez goes into 15th. Remis across the line. No improvement. He stays in 8th position. Here comes Davy Suarez, the Brazilian now then, making his way onto the pit straight. And across the line, he will go. And he does not improve. And he stays where he is, which is P5. Sam Fact across the line. And no improvement. He stays in 6th position. What about what's going on behind? That's Alan Jefferson. Obviously held up things, let's not forget. He crosses the line and goes into 14th position, slotting in front of Coney Ziner there. Here comes Thomas Bennett now then, the Welshman, who's currently on the back row of the grid with Josh Fings. Here comes Bennett across the line. He will go now then. And he goes up into 13th, pushes Tarrison onto the back row of the grid. And I think that's pretty much that then. That is qualifying done with.
It.
And we have Max Skillen, who is on pole position as a result. So Evan Burns' favourite guy gets onto pole by just under 0.2 of a second ahead of the man who got pole position last time at Budapest, which is Bernardo de Oliveira.
Irritating. As we put in the memes, or DTM Fan TV, shout out to DTM Fan TV, the great Twitter account relating to the OC. But yeah, interesting qualifying. Of course, if the positions stay like this, then Soppanen is going to be quite comfortable in coming into Monza. But let's see what happens.
See, if it were to stay like this, then the championship would go down to the wire. But as Yuri mentioned, Soppanen would have quite a comfortable lead going into Monza. So as everybody now gets wheeled back into the garage, as we wait for it to officially go to the menu screen, as I think there's still a few cars who obviously crossed the line before the checkered flag came out, that still need to come into the pits before we head back into the main menu screen. There's still a few cars coming into pit lane, as you can see on your screen, and we're just waiting. I think Bennett, in fact, obviously we're just waiting for him to go into the pits, and then because I think he was the last one to finish a lap, and I think he actually finished it before the checkered flag came out. So we'll just wait for him to go into the pit, and then we will get on to the grid really. And because there's not really a need to read off the results, we can just go straight to the grid and read them from there really. So Bennett now then comes around Blanchimont, as he will be approaching the pits very soon, and then it will take us back to the menu screen just in time really for Q2 3 really. So at least we're accurate on that occasion, as he loses his front wing in the process going over the curb. We saw that well, we did actually see that a bit yesterday during the Formula 2 race. I think I was commentating on yesterday. So, yeah, it's kind of a little bit of an interesting thing with that curve. But anyway, there's your results. I don't think we need to read them. We can just go straight to the grid and read them from there, really. As Yuri will just quickly do a little save just in case anything goes wrong. And you should have it back on your screen very, very soon. As,
well, I didn't even put that screen off. Yeah.
Well, as you can see, he's put a very random name there just to ensure that anything goes wrong. But anyway, 11 laps of action. This is what the grid looks like then. Max Skillen is on pole position with Bernardo de Oliveira in second. Alexandra Bogas starts in third with Juha Soppanen in fourth. Davy Suarez finishes in fifth with Sam Fact in sixth position. Patrick Borghi starts in seventh with Julian Remis in eighth. Matteo Catalan starts in ninth with Ray and Adam completing the top 10. Nathan Orman starts 11th with Frenchman Hinaldi Tilly in 12th. Then it is Thomas Bennett in 13th with Jacob Sikorsky in 14th. Alan Jefferson is in 15th with Emilia Konezaina in 16th. Then it is Joao Lopez in 17th with Krzysztof Berenek in 18th. Daniel Noakes in 19th with Fonyaton Konkum in 20th. And then on the back row of the grid, we have Chris Tarrison in 21st and Josh Fings with a lot of work to do in 22nd and last. And the weather, it is completely bone dry, no rain expected. Whether that will be an omen for the top class race later on, we will have to wait and see. But 11 laps of action coming your way. Will Juha Soppanen win the title, or will it go down to the wire? Of course, if it were to stay like this, then it would go down to the wire, but Soppanen would have a comfortable lead going into the finale at Monza next week. So we are getting ready to start the race, just waiting to get onto the grid, which we are now then. So here we are then on the grid. We've got Skillen on the left of your screens, De Oliveira on the right. Obviously, the usual Transverse Spa is usually if you start in second, you should take the lead into the first corner. So unless De Oliveira bogs down at the start, you should comfortably get the lead into the first corner. But let's see, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and now we have 5 lights on your screens. It is lights out, and away we go for the penultimate time this season for the OC Entrance Series. It's initially a good start from Skinner, but of course, let's keep an eye on what that first corner has to offer. Will De Oliveira leave his braking a little bit late into the first corner? He is going to, as he's going to try and swerve around the outside of Skillen. Has he taken the lead? And yes, he has. De Oliveira has taken the lead, but can Skillen try and get him back up towards the Kemmel Straight? That's going to be interesting. Soppinen has also gained a place. He's up into 3rd position and trying to get 2nd place of a Max Skillen, but he's going to tuck back for the moment as they now make their way up the hill towards Eau Rouge and Radion before making their way onto the Kemmel Straight. Not been a good start from Tarrison. He's down to 22nd, but can Skillen retake the lead here? Soppinen, in fact, going to try and make it 3 wide, going into the Lacombe. Skillen on the inside of De Oliveira, making their way down towards the Lacombe. Now has he got the lead back off De Oliveira? It's 3 wide towards the back, meanwhile, as you can see, but Skillen retakes the lead as Suarez looks like he's going to gain 2 places here as he's side by side with Alexandra Bogas going through into Lacombe, and he grabs, they're actually still side by side going out of Lacombe now, the 2 Portuguese speaking drivers, as Suarez has got the move done as we got a yellow flag into Lacombe, in fact, and we got a crash. It's Koenigsegger. So Koenigsegger, who finally finished last time out in Budapest, it's back to reality for her as she has been eliminated on the first lap of the race, and so is Jefferson. Alan Jefferson is out of the race, so 2 retirements at Lacombe. Let's see what on earth happened here. As you can see, it's a 3 wide moment down here, but it seems they didn't keep it clean that time, and it seems that Lopez is the one that's caused the incident, and as a result, he's lost his front wing, so he's going to have to make a trip to the pits, and it looks like that Koenigsegger just caught some debris as a result of that collision between Lopez and Tarrison, if I think. No, in fact, she got clipped by Christoph Berenek. In fact, Berenek was trying to take avoiding action, but he's ended up clipping the back of Koenigsegger, and I'm not sure if he sustained any damage. I couldn't quite see if there was damage on his car there. And I think he got damage. I'm not sure. There was something that was flying off his...
lost his engine cover for reasons nobody will ever understand.
Oh, either way, if that gets... Well, it seems like he's going slow, so it looks like he's going to have to repair it, whatever. I thought it may have been a case of if it's just side pod damage, then he could continue. But given that he's going quite slowly, it looks like he's going to have to make a trip to the pits for repairs. We've got 2 retirements already, but Skillen retakes the lead after Lacombe, and he's already built a lead ahead of De Oliveira. Meanwhile, Fact and Soppinen, the 2 rivals, fighting for 3rd position, and Fact really needs to get ahead of Soppinen if he wants to close the gap down in the Drivers' Championship, because, of course, going into this race, he found himself 17 points behind Soppinen in the championship. Same goes with Ray and Adam, and, of course, Matteo Catalan. So if Fact wants to really get close behind him going into Monza, he's got to really start making some ground. As they now make their way through towards Blanchimont now then, as all 3 of them make their way towards the chicane, as Skillen continues to build the lead, and in front Soppinen goes to the outside. Is Fact going to take advantage? You're going to think about it. He takes foot. That's a bad idea for Soppinen, and Fact punishes him for it, and Fact, it's up into 3rd position. So he's now going to gain some points on Soppinen. As a result, his next target is going to be Bernardo de Oliveira. We've still got yellow effects at the com because they're still clearing up the cars of Jefferson and Koenigsegger, who both crashed there on lap 1. They're still attempting to clear it up, and it looks like it's going to take a while. So anyway, meanwhile, as you can see, we've got Adam on the inside of, that's Nathan Orman. He's trying to have a go at, but can't get the move done through into last source there. Meanwhile, Josh Fings has done very well. He's had a very good start from last of the grid. He's already up into 16th position, so he's gained 6 places off the start. Meanwhile, Sam Fact is now starting to put Bernardo de Oliveira under a bit of pressure. Luckily, there is no yellow flag rules in this, so he is free to overtake in the yellow flag zone. So if he does overtake, he's not going to get a penalty for it. Fact on the inside he goes, and he does it even before he gets to the yellow flag zone, and Fact gets up into 2nd place. So that's 18 championship points for the German there, as they all make their way towards Lacombe now then. But that's 2nd place for Sam Fact, and now as a result, the gap between him and Soppinen will come down to 11 points in the championship. The question is, does he have the pace to catch up to Skillen and become the first double winner of the season?
Yep, 11 points in the final round. That could be actually doable, I think. So it's a good start for Fact.
Indeed, as he is obviously as he's obviously looking to see if he can become the first double winner of the season. Meanwhile, Matteo Catalan is also trying to make his way up through the field as he's currently trying to put Alexander Bogas under a bit of pressure in the fight for 7th place. He's also got, who is that behind him at the moment? He's Thomas Bennett, who of course has also had quite a good start. He's into the points at the moment, up in 9th position as they now make their way towards turn 14 and 15, of course 15 being Stavolo, as you saw Bogas having to defend just a little bit. The gap 1.4 seconds between Skillen and Fact, so we will keep an eye on that gap throughout the next few laps, of course, and I wonder what the pace is as Soppinen is a bit further back to De Oliveira at this point. Meanwhile, Catalan looking to the inside, but it's cost him because Bennett goes around the outside, does a move that Felix Sontag did a couple of seasons ago and gets up into 8th position. Can he now get Bogas now for 7th, or is he going to do the same mistake for what we saw with Soppinen? Catalan does not take full advantage, and Bennett is going to tuck back behind Bogas at the moment. But that's P8 for the Welshman as we start lap 3 of 11 here at Spa-Francorchamps. The gap between Fact and Skillen down to 1.2 seconds. In fact, Fact has set the fastest lap of the race, so he's actually got the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race. It will actually bring the gap down to 10 points thanks to that bonus point, but he is starting to gain on Skillen. He is really a man on the charge at the moment as Adam again tries to look on the inside of Orman, but it's not going to quite work out for him there. Then as Soppinen is closing back in onto De Oliveira, the gap 0.8 seconds at this stage of the race now then as they make their way down towards Eau Rouge and Radion quite soon as Suarez is actually putting Soppinen under a bit of pressure in the fight for 4th position, but Adam meanwhile trying to get a hold of 11th position. In fact, Suarez not close enough on that occasion to get him at that stage. It looked like he was close enough, but it just seems that Soppinen has had better traction on this occasion. Meanwhile, Bennett on the inside of Bogas. This should be an easy move. The yellow flags have now gone from the con. Down the inside goes Bennett, and that's an easy P7 for the Frenchman. Up into 7th place goes Thomas Bennett. He's on 6 championship points as a result, as now Catalan will try and get back to work on Bogas, who he obviously lost the place to Bennett after he was trying his best to get past him at Blanchimont, but it didn't quite work out for him, as Skillen can sense that Fact is currently lapping quicker than him at the moment, and we could find ourselves with a battle for the lead very soon in this race, as Soppinen is definitely closing back in onto De Oliveira, but also dragging along Suarez and Remis with him at this stage.
Yep, interesting changes in terms of the championship. Well, they're 5-race championship, but still. It could be an interesting final next time around.
You will see, of course. Meanwhile, as Fact continues to close in on Skillen just in front. Here is De Oliveira. Looks like he's created a bit of a gap to Soppinen out of those corners. So every time Soppinen closes up, he sees that De Oliveira is able to respond. The gap 0.7 seconds between 3rd and 4th at this stage of the race now. Then as Suarez is trying to put Soppinen under a lot of pressure through towards Blanchimont. As meanwhile, Bogas has not given up on Bennett. He's trying to get him back into Blanchimont. Not going to work. He's going to tuck back behind the Welshman as a result there. Meanwhile, is Suarez going to get the move done on Soppinen into the chicane? He looks to the inside. He's going to fake it to the inside. Let's see. He's thinking about it. He's going to go to the inside. Can he pull the move off on Juha Soppinen? He thinks about it, but can't get the move done. So Soppinen is going to hold on to 4th for the time being, and he loses trace to De Oliveira as a result. De Oliveira gets away just a little bit as a direct result, as Fact is definitely getting close to the rear end now of Max Skillen, as you can just saw there at the bottom of your screen, as Soppinen trying to defend Suarez in the first corner. Meanwhile, Catalan trying to look on the inside of Alexander Bogas into La Source. Very close to contact there between the pair of them, but luckily no contact was made there going through into La Source. As meanwhile, Remis is now on the back of the battle between Soppinen and Suarez, but Catalan now right on the gearbox of Bogas. This is the best chance he's had all race to get by on the Portuguese driver. Through Eau Rouge, up the hill, and then into Radion we go now then. And is Catalan going to get P8 from the Portuguese driver? He's in the slipstream of Alexander Bogas down the Camel Straight. He's going to look to the inside, is he? Yes, he is. He's now pulled to the inside. Is he going to get the move done on Juha Soppinen? As meanwhile, Remi's on the inside of Suarez, and that's a fantastic move from the Honduras driver, and he's up into 5th as he now tries to get a hold of Soppinen as well, just like with Fact. And has Catalan got the move done? He has. Catalan up into 8th place. He's finally got the move done on Bogas, and that's P8 for the Italian. It seems that apart from Josh Fings, it seems that a majority of Soppinen's rivals are definitely making their way up through the field at this stage.
Yep, they are looking good in the race. Things look quite difficult for Things though, in terms of the getting into the points, but yeah.
And now look at this, we've now got a battle for the lead. Fact all over the backside of Skillen as he's looking to be the first double winner of the season to hopefully have a very good chance of getting a hold of Soppinen in the final race of the season. As they now make their way through into turn 14, through into Stavolo now. Then we go as the top two now fighting very hard at this stage of the race. Down the straight we go, heading towards Blanchimont now then. Is he going to try and maybe have a look at him into the first part of Blanchimont? He's thinking about it, but I think it's going to be predictable. Skillen is going to cover him off and Fact loses momentum. So as a result, I don't think he's going to try and attack Skillen into the chicane, or is he? I don't think he's close enough, so I think he's going to have to wait perhaps until either La Source or the Camel Straight. Skillen does defend the inside though, just in case, as around the outside goes Noakes on Tilly. Looked like Tilly tried to do something similar to what we saw with Catalan a little bit earlier on Nathan Ormond, as it didn't work out for Tilly, as now Noakes is trying to have a go at Ormond. Noakes on the inside, can he get the move done on the American? The answer to that is no. Ormond just holds on for the time being, as we are now on lap 5 of 11 now then. Is Fact close enough to get a hold? Meanwhile, just in front, Bennett trying to attack Suarez for 6th position, and Bennett having to take a wider line as a result. But here we go for the battle for the lead. Fact on the inside of Skilling, heading up towards Oruge and Radion. He thought about a move there, had to back out of it, but he's still got the momentum on him going down the Kemmel Straight. Is Sam Fact going to take the lead from Max Skilling now? And down the Kemmel Straight we go. The German, he's in the selection of the Scotsman. He's now on the inside, heading down towards Lecombe now then for the 5th time today. So we're pretty much close to the halfway point of the race, and he's already got his nose in front, and into the leader race goes Sam Fact. Skillen tries to find his way back on at Lecombe, but it's not enough. Fact takes the lead of the race.
Yep, that's good news for him. He's going to cut the gap a lot. It's going to be, if things keep going like this, it's going to be a tight final race next time around.
Indeed, as it looks like, I think that's Soppinen and Remis who are currently fighting for 5th position just in front. Of course, we're looking at Ormond and Noakes, and of course, I think that's Tilly behind. Or has Tilly been overtaken? In fact, it looks like, in fact, that's not Tilly. Tilly's been overtaken somewhere. That's actually Sikorsky, who's got up into 14th position, and so far it looks like Tilly's under threat from Josh Fings. Meanwhile, Noakes on the inside, going through into Puan. Can he get the move done? The answer to that is no. Ormond just hangs it around the outside and holds on to 12th position. Meanwhile, Patrick Borghi is now his turn to try and attack Bogas for 9th position now then, as the Italian tries to put the Portuguese driver under a bit of pressure now then. We ride on board with Skillen, who's starting to lose touch to Sam Fact just in front now then, as they make their way through into Blanchimont now then. As meanwhile, Remis is all over the back of Soppinen now then. Of course, Remy is also trying to close the gap between himself and Soppinen in the championship, as they now make their way through into Blanchimont now then. Is Remy's going to try and attack Soppinen into the final chicane. Let's see, as Soppinen defends the inside, so Remy's will have to wait a little bit longer. Nearly close to contact there between the pair of them, but luckily it didn't come to that, as Fact starts lap 6 of the race. As Ormond again holding up a huge traffic jam, as Tilly takes full advantage, gets up into 13th. As contact there, as Sikorsky leaves his braking far too late and rams into the back of Daniel Noakes as a result, and both of them are going to have to come into the pits.
Well, that's considering how short these races are. This is basically race over for them.
Indeed, so that's pretty much their race down the toilet as a result, and a bit of clumsy driving there, it has to be said, from Jacob Sikorsky there to send him and Noakes into the pits to get damage repaired. As we now look at De Oliveira, who's currently got about a second lead over Juha Soppinen at this stage. Meanwhile, Bennett is now on the inside of Davy Suarez, but he's not close enough to make a move on, and he's not quite alongside it. It allows, as a result, Suarez to be able to defend the inside quite easily down the Kemmel Straight, and as such, hold on to that 6th position, as Skillen has a little bit of a moment going out the exit of the com there, as he continues to lose time to race leader Sam Fact at this stage. Sikorsky has finished off his pit stop, as of Noakes. They've rejoined in 17th and 18th respectively, ahead of Lopez and Baranek. Of course, there's only 20 cars left because, of course, Coney Ziner and Jefferson both retired from the race on lap 1 at Lecombe. As now going through Puan now, then we go. Meanwhile, Bennett looking to the inside again of Davy Suarez for 6th position. Has Bennett got the move done? The answer to that is no. He's going to hang back again at this stage, as they now make their way down towards turns 12 and 13 on the racetrack now then. As Fact goes around turn 14 now then, as Soppinen, it looks like he is starting to close again onto De Oliveira, but it's still just under a second between the pair of them, as Fact has got the gap now to 2 seconds between himself and Max Skillen now at this stage of the race, as Soppinen tries to close in on De Oliveira, but it looks like he's also maybe dragging Remis with him at this stage, as they now come towards the second part of Blanchimont now then on the racetrack. Meanwhile, Bennett now looks to the inside of Davy Suarez yet again, but again, can't get the move done, and all that is done is allowed Matteo Catalan to gain back onto them as a result, as Catalan gets some momentum on Bennett heading up towards the chicane now then, as Bennett, will he try and have a go at Suarez? The answer to that is no, because Suarez covers the inside, as there's nearly a bit of contact there between Borghi and Adam there. The two Italian drivers nearly making contact there. Same goes with Ormond and Tilly there, just going around the chicane as Tilly tries to put Ormond under a bit of pressure as they come out of the chicane now then, as we've got 5 laps to go here at Spa-Francorchamps for the entrance series, as Fact continues to extend his lead out in front as he makes his way through into Eau Rouge and Radion. Berenek and Lopez meanwhile trying to entertain themselves towards the back as Berenek tries to get out at last place as they make their way through into the second part of Blanchimont, but he's not close enough to get a hold of Lopez into that chicane there. Sopinen is definitely gaining on De Oliveira at this stage, but obviously at this stage not close enough to attack him. Again, Bennett is not far enough alongside Suarez to mount an attack into Lecombe, and I think Suarez is going to hang on to it, or is he? Looks like Bennett might just have enough legs on him, but Suarez again just able to hang it around the outside and hold on to 6th position, as now Catalan is on the back of this battle as a result, and if they're not careful, Bogas, Borghi and even Adam could find themselves on the back of the Suarez train as we look back at the race leader, Sam Fack, the German driver, making his way down through Pouon now then, as he continues to stretch the lead out in front. As meanwhile, Remy's on the inside of Sopinen. He's battle with Sopinen's resume, but he tucks back into the slipstream and thinks better of it. Berenek, meanwhile, has finally been able to get past Lopez, so he's got up into 19th position as they now make their way towards turns 12 and 13, as the battle for 6th just behind Sopinen and Remy's continue. Through into turn 14 goes Max Skillen now then, as he will now make his way through into Stavlo. As meanwhile, Tilly tried to have a go at Ormond there into turn 12. Didn't work out, as he's going to again tuck back behind at this stage now then, as they now make their way towards turns 14 and 15, as they're not careful. I think Josh Fings is going to start to close on them. I think that's Josh Fings that's behind them. But anyway, Bennett again trying to have a go. Is Catalan going to take full advantage? He is, and Catalan gets up into 7th place. So Catalan learning from his previous mistake there and taking full advantage. But is Bennett going to actually try and get him back on the inside of the chicane? He thought about it, but is Catalan going to try and have a go at Suarez in the chicane? Bit of contact there, but luckily no harm done. And as a result, they're both able to continue as a result. 4 laps to go for race leader Sam Fact meanwhile, as we're on lap 8 of 11 here at Spa-Francorchamps. The gap down to 0.5 of a second between De Oliveira and Sopinen. In fact, Sopinen still having to fend off a bit from Julian Remes, who's still putting him under a bit of pressure now then, as they come out of the source now then, and it looks like Remes is closer to Sopinen than what Sopinen is to De Oliveira, and I think this is the closest that the Honduras driver has been to the Finn all race so far, so this could be his best chance to get hold of 4th position. Thought about a look into Eau Rouge there, didn't work out, but he's still going to get the run up towards Radion and then down the Kemmel Straight, as he's right in the slipstream of the Finnish driver now then, as they make the way down the Kemmel Straight. Is Remy's going to grab 4th place from his title rival side by side. Go the pair of them now then, heading towards Lecombe. On the inside he goes. Is this going to be the position gained for Remes? And the answer to that is yes. Up into 4th place goes Julian Remes, and he's going to gain some time to Sopinen in the championship as well, along with Sam Fact, who currently holds on to the fastest lap, let's not forget. And with Sopinen in 5th position, if it were to stay like this, the gap between Sopinen and Fact in the championship will only be just 1 point, because I think Fact still holds on to the fastest lap of the race at the moment.
Yeah,
He'll take 26 points. Sopinen will have 10. The gap was 17 points between them going into this race, so the gap will be down to just 1 point between Sopinen and Fact going into the final race at Monza, pretty much making it anybody's game.
Yeah, when there's only 1 point in a championship fight, it's going to it's basically just who finishes ahead in the next race.
Pretty much, yeah. It's going to be a race to the finish where there's Catalan gets it all out of shape there, going through turns 12 and 13, and allows Bennett and Bogas to get back into the slipstream of him as a result. Coming towards Stavlo now then, although he's deciding to pull a bit of a gap coming out of turn 14. Looks like he had better traction there compared to Bennett, who has got Bogas all over the back of him now. Then as they make their way towards Blanchimont, Bogas trying to have a go at him into the first part of Blanchimont, but Bennett gets that one covered and holds on to 8th position. The gap up to 3.5 seconds now between Fact and Skillen. Meanwhile, the battle for 7th still continuing. Bennett thought about having to go in the second part of Blanchimont, didn't work out. Catalan covering the inside, and as a result, he's going to hold on to 7th place. At the same time, there's a bit of a lock up there for somebody there. Not sure who it was. It was either Bennett or Bogas there that locked up, but somebody had a Had some smoke come off the tyres there. Meanwhile, Remy's is all over the back of De Oliveira. He's caught him up quite quickly there. And it looks like we've got a big battle for that final podium place now then, as Remy's wants to gain some more points on Soppinen going into the final race of the season. Remy's has been so consistent in his first ever season in the OC, the first Honduras driver in the OC, as they now make their way through into Eau Rouge and then up towards Radion now then, heading down the Camel Straight. Is Remy's going to get the move done on Bernardo De Oliveira as he now makes his way down the Camel Straight. He looks to the inside. He's Remy's going to get the move done on De Oliveira, heading towards Lecombe. Meanwhile, in the background, Bennett is going to go on the inside of Catalan now then, as Remy's actually got blocked off there by De Oliveira. So De Oliveira holds on to third. Bennett on the inside of Catalan, and he retakes seventh from the Italian. So P7 yet again goes to Thomas Bennett as Ormond is trying to get talked back of Fings, who out of nowhere has gained 2 positions. So Fings is up into 12th, and he's now just 2 places away from the points as Concombe gets by on Tilly there for 14th position. So Tilly has dropped a bit backwards since we last checked up on them. So he's now down into 15th position as Remy's again trying to put De Oliveira under a lot of pressure going into Pouan. He's going to the inside. Remy's going to pull the move off here. No, he's not. De Oliveira just holds on. Soppinen will be waiting in the wings in case any of these two slip up in front, as now they come down up towards turns 12 and 13 on the track now then, through turn 12 and then into 13 we will soon go as they flip the car in through these section of corners, using a bit of curb on the outside before making their way towards turn 14 and then into Stavlo. We will soon be going now then, and through into Stavlo corner now then. Remy's trying to put De Oliveira under a lot of pressure here as they come out of turn 15, as they now make their way. Now then, Remy's looking to the inside of De Oliveira. Didn't quite work out. He's had to back out, and I think that's allowed Soppinen to get back in that fight for third position as a result. Well, not quite. He's still got a bit of a gap to try and gain onto Remy's as they now come up towards the chicane. Oliveira defending the inside, and Remy's has to stay back as a result. So maybe he'll have to wait again for the Camel Straight, or maybe into La Source. As meanwhile, Sam Fact has started the penultimate lap of the race here at Spa-Francorchamps. As now we come down the pit straight now then. Is Remy's going to get the move done on De Oliveira this time by now then, as they make their way down towards La Source. De Oliveira again covering the inside. Remy's can't get the move done, and he might take a wider line. In fact, he will. Is Soppinen going to take full advantage of this? The answer to that is no. Remy's he's going to hold on. So Remy's he's not going to get any momentum onto De Oliveira down the Camel Straight, so he's going to have to close up and try again on the final lap of the race, as Vact continues to extend his lead out in front ahead of Max Skillen, who's looking very comfortable so far in second position. The Scotsman doing a good job in that second place, but clearly doesn't have the pace compared to himself and Sam Fact, as the gap is now up to 4.9 seconds. It's nearly 5 seconds between the top two on this penultimate lap of the race here at Spa-Francorchamps. And it gets a little bit of a breather there, but anyway, as we now ride back on board with De Oliveira, as we look now at him as he's currently in third. I wonder if Julian Remy's is trying to get back on the prowl of De Oliveira, and I wonder if Juho Soppinen is doing the same thing as they make their way down the hill towards Pouan now then, as they come down towards turns 10 and 11 on the racetrack. Quite a fast sequence of corners now then, as we will now make our way towards turns 12 and 13. And here is Sam Fact, who's just coming around turns 14 and 15 now then on the racetrack. And let's see what the gap is like this time by. It's 5 seconds, so he's continuing to increase the lead out in front at this stage, as he now makes his way through the second part of Blanchimont now then. And now approaching the second part, he will go, as he will soon be starting the final lap of the race, as he's now coming up towards the last chicane for the penultimate time. But meanwhile, here comes Suarez, is all over the back of Soppinen. So if he can actually, this is actually quite critical in fact, because if Suarez can get by on Soppinen, then Sam Fact will take the lead in the championship going into the final race by 1 point. So at the moment it's 1 point to Soppinen, but if Suarez can get past Soppinen, then Fact will take the lead going into the final race, as Fact has just started the final lap here at Spa-Francorchamps, as Suarez has also got Bennett to deal with behind as well. So this is going to get interesting. Now, is Remy's close enough to De Oliveira on this lap to try and have a go at him for third place on the final lap? Depends on how he does at La Source, really, as Soppinen really having to defend a bit from Suarez going into La Source. Now, is Remy's close enough to De Oliveira? That's the question. He might be just in front as the battle for third is still continuing at this point, but I'm not sure if it's close enough for him to try and get third position, although he's getting a good run up through the hill. But is it going to be enough for him to get the podium place off of De Oliveira to come down the Kemmel Straight now then for the final time today? Is Remy's going to grab the podium place off of De Oliveira on the final lap? He's on the inside. Is the Honduras driver going to get the move done as Soppinen has got enough of a gap to stay on Suarez, and Remy's didn't even need to wait for Lecombe, and up into third place goes Julian Remy's. He's going to gain more onto Soppinen as a result, who has managed to create a gap between himself and Suarez. Meanwhile, Adam takes the final points place there off of Patrick Borghi. So Ray and Adam gets up into 10th position and into the final points place, but it looks like Remy's is going to gain onto Soppinen. Of course, this man will do, but he's only going to be 1 point behind Soppinen. Had Suarez got the move done on Soppinen down at the Kemmel Straight, then he would be leading the championship by 1 point, but it's not going to be the case. But either way, he's not going to be too disappointed, I don't think, because the championship will go down to the wire. It will be 1 point between himself and Soppinen, with Remy's also close behind as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting indeed, and definitely one to look forward to, I am sure. But anyway, here is Sam Fack now. He's just come out of Stavlo now then for the 11th and final time. Through into Blanchimont now then for the final time he goes. As he'll now round the second part of Blanchimont now then. He will now soon approach the final chicane on the racetrack now then. Approaching that final chicane. There are the marshals getting ready to signify that this is the final lap. Through into the final corner we will go now then. And onto the pit straight we go. And he's going to become the first double winner of the season, as Sam Fack is going to win here at Spa-Francorchamps and become the first double winner of the entrance series. And as a result, the championship will go down to the wire at Monza with just a point difference between himself and Juha Soppinen. Max Killen finishes in second, with Julian Remys, who's going to grab the final podium in third. He'll also be in the title fight as well. Bernardo de Oliveira fourth, Juha Soppinen finishes in fifth, Davy Suarez in sixth, with Thomas Bennett seventh, Catalan eighth, Bogas in ninth, with Adam in 10th, Borghi misses out on points in 11th, Josh Fings finishes in 12th position, but I think he will still be in the title fight because, of course, he was 5 points behind Soppinen going into it, and because Soppinen scored 10 points today, the gap will be 15 points, so Fings will still be in the title fight going into Monza, but it's a little bit more tricky than what Fact and Remy's will do. Noakes will cross the line in 17th, Sikorsky in 80th position. Of course, these two had a collision at the chicane, so they obviously effectively ruined their races. Berenek is going to cross the line in 19th position. The Czech driver finishes in 19th, and coming across the line in 20th and last, thanks to sustaining damage on lap 1 as well, is Joao Lopez. P20 for him, and that's the race done with. With Sam Fact, your first ever double winner in the OC Entrance Series, and as such, the championship is going down to the final round at Monza. So here is your final result then. Sam Fact wins the race with Max Killen in second, Julian Remys in third, with Bernardo de Oliveira in fourth, Juha Soppinen in fifth, with Davy Suarez in sixth, Thomas Bennett in seventh, with Matteo Catalan in eighth, Alexandra Bogas is in ninth, with Ray and Adam completing the points in 10th, Patrick Borghi 11th, Josh Fings in 12th, with Nathan Ormond in 13th, Hinyaldi Tilly in 14th, with Funya Torn Concom in 15th, Chris Tarrison in 16th, Daniel Noakes in 17th, with Jacob Sikorsky in 18th, Christoph Berenek 19th, with Joao Lopez, the last of the finishers, in 20th, with Amelia Koenigsegger and Alan Jefferson, the only two retirements in this race. And the fastest lap of the race, of course, went to Sam Fact. So along with the 25 points he gets for the victory, he also gets the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race, meaning he finds himself just 1 point behind Juha Soppinen going into the final race next week at Monza. So there you have it then guys. That has been it from the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for the entrance series. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, we've got the top class race coming up very, very soon in around 45 minutes time, so do look out for that, for 44 laps of action in the top class. The next entrance series race, of course, will be on next week for the final race of the OC entrance series championship for 2021, and that will of course be at Monza, where the championship will be decided. But until then guys, that has been it. I hope you have enjoyed, so thank you all for watching. I've been JW97, he's been Yuri, and we will see you next time. Take care.